Welcome to Tech Talks by ResellerClub, our knowledge sharing series specially for web developers and designers like you. I'm Chirag and I'm going to be your host for today. And today we are talking about the basics of machine learning. What's more, our expert for the day has also prepared an interesting demo to show you. It's going to be on Google's Vision API. Now, I know that sounds really exciting, and I'm sure during the course of this show you're going to have some questions. Do write to us in the chat box below. I'm sure you've heard about the recent spat between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, and the fact that while the former believes artificial intelligence is actually going to help the human civilization going forward, Musk thinks it's going to be detrimental to it. Now, I'm going to pull in today's expert. He's going to talk to you about this, give you his take on it. He's also going to talk to us about machine learning, and by the end of this session, you're going to have 3 key takeaways that you can apply to your business. So now please join me in welcoming Jonathan D'Souza. He is the Senior Team Lead of Technical Operations at the Endurance International Group, and here he is.
Hey guys,
Thank you so much
nice
for joining
doing the show, Chirag.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into machine learning, and how long have you been studying it since?
I like how you call me an expert there.
Okay.
But let's get real. This is something that was born out of interest.
Okay.
And something that I read about. And as I read about it, I grew passionate about it.
Okay.
And I read more about it. And as I started reading more and more about it, I figured out that this is something that can be applied to our day-to-day business,
Right.
and our day-to-day work to
You
simplify it.
you also built certain tools around these within the organization. Can you elaborate on it?
Yes, so we built certain tools that can help the support agents or the support system as a whole, the help desk to function better. Send out responses based on customers' queries
Right.
in almost in real time. So with quick interactions, quick customer service, customer experience increases as a result.
Right.
Business benefits as a result. And
Benefits
there
as
are
a
a few other tools in the pipeline
Okay.
which
We'll
we're
talk
also
about later.
planning on,
Yeah.
which are based on machine learning.
Okay. So walk us through what machine learning is. I mean, it's more than just a machine getting inputs of data, processing it, and then making decisions in real time and providing you an output. What exactly is machine learning? Let's simplify it for our viewers who don't know what it is.
Definitely. So before we get into
What
the
it is.
deeper concepts of machine learning, it's important for us to understand what learning is.
In general, yeah. What is
So
learning?
initially, human beings were hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
They hunted for their food, and slowly they evolved. Weapons advanced.
Right.
They began understanding the benefits of living a civilized life,
Right.
of cultivating your own food, right? And that's where civilization started. But all of this was not it just did not happen all of a sudden. It was evolution that happened over time.
Yes.
As mankind learned, it implemented its learnings and improved over time.
Certain things worked, certain things did not. They forged their opinions and beliefs accordingly.
Exactly.
And that's how.
And that's how they grew on to be better as individuals, as human beings. Of course, they had their fair share of pain and
Yeah.
their unfortunate incidents.
So what
right?
you're saying is machines take this concept forward.
Yes, that's how a system or a software or an algorithm learns from its past experiences and
Okay.
improves performance going forward.
Okay. Now that's really interesting. Can you walk us a little bit through what machine learning is?
Definitely. We look at an example for us to understand about this better.
Yeah.
As I said, a system or a software improves its performance based on its experience.
Right.
And if you look at an example, we've all visited the various e-commerce portals that we have today in India.
Right.
And say for example, you're on one of these e-commerce portals and you're searching for sneakers. And you're scrolling through the various options looking for the sneakers of your choice, and you suddenly drop off that particular interaction. It could be for XYZ reason, right? There's something else came up, so you diverted your attention to that, and you've not had the opportunity to go back to that particular e-commerce portal again.
Yeah.
But that portal already realizes and knows that you have visited and you were looking for sneakers.
Yeah. Is it
It also-
because of the recommendation engines that they've set up on those particular portals?
So
They track your data.
Yes, exactly. Recommendation engines are also based on machine learning. So they analyze your previous search history or your previous purchase history.
Okay.
They look at your current search history, and then they provide recommendations based on a combination of these decisions.
Okay.
And similarly, we have the suggestions that are provided on an e-commerce portal as we were on it, right? So you've dropped off that particular interaction, and say after a couple of hours, the e-commerce portal sends you a notification saying that we saw you looking for sneakers.
That's right.
And they also provide you an attractive discount. That's because they want you to connect back to their portal and make a purchase. So the whole idea here is of relevance.
Relevance and validation from the
Exactly. So if there's relevant content or relevant advertisements that push to you based on your
consumptions,
that's where you're most likely to click on it and go ahead and make money for that business and also make a purchase for yourself.
Yes.
And machine learning has its benefits.
Right.
But we need to work in that scope of the benefits only. The day we think we want to give full power to machines, that's the day we're going to spell the end for ourselves. Because machine learning has its benefits, but there are also its cons, which we don't want to focus on. We just want to exploit the benefits.
Yeah, let's talk about
that. And move on and apply that to our business and make sure that we're doing well in our businesses.
Why now, Jonathan? I mean, machine learning's evolved over time and data has built up over time.
Yes.
With the advent of the internet.
I'm glad you brought that up. So
why is it so important right now? Why do companies lean on it?
With the advent of the internet, right, there is close to 20-25 years of data that's available.
Right.
And if you go to see, there is a lot of data that's available about us online. It's scary sometimes. The amount of data that Google captures alone for them to provide free services for you in return is scary. The amount of data that they have. They can classify you based on your age group, your sex, even if you're not logged into your account, they will be able to figure out based on your searches what age group you belong to.
Right.
So that's pretty effective and scary too. So yeah, it has right now. There's so much of data that's available, and that's why it's important that we make use of that data that's available to help us going forward.
Okay.
If we don't make use of that data, we're not going to be effective going forward. We're going to be doing the same things that we're doing right now.
The interesting thing is we also have enough computational power to back up and work with this data.
Exactly. So the amount of data that we also have supporting computational power right now that can help us analyze and process that data.
Right.
And why it is so important is, as I said, it helps us automate certain monotonous tasks that we perform. And when I say monotonous tasks, if you're occupied doing something that can be done effectively by a machine,
then why are you doing it?
Exactly. We're wasting our time behind it. We can use that time and energy for something that's more productive. Yes. So one example that be relevant to our viewers who tuned in is they have a lot of customers, and those customers generate support requests.
Are you talking about resellers?
Yes. Our resellers and our web designers. Yes. And these customer requests, if you analyze them, about 15 to 20% of them are generic queries that can be solved with a simple knowledge base article.
Yeah.
So if you're spending your time and energy to respond to all of those customers, those 15 to 20% of requests that you receive, just giving them knowledge base articles, that's not an effective and efficient way to do things.
Exactly. For example, if let's say there's a query, how do I change my name servers?
Yes. So you've brought that up. Let's look at the keywords in that particular query. What would the keywords be in that query?
Name servers and change.
Exactly. Change, name servers. Yeah. And when you look at these keywords, you know that you have a knowledge base article to support that. How do I change my name servers?
Right.
So you can club these two together, make that a combination. So if there's a request that comes in and says, how do I change my name servers? You draw out the keywords which are change name servers. And you have already drawn a combination in your database that if these are the keywords, this is the solution that needs to be provided.
Right.
So your system provides that solution to the customer. And thereafter you can create a feedback loop and ask the customer if that solution was relevant. If it was relevant, you're validating your answer. If it was not relevant, you can teach your system how to do better and ask them why it was not relevant. What exactly are the details? Just go into the granular level of things to make the system smarter.
Smarter over time. Yeah.
Yes. And since the web designers have also tuned in, our web professionals from ResellerClub I'd like you to take them through one of the simple concepts of machine learning. That's the style transfer algorithm.
Yeah, you were talking to me about this before we began. Can you?
Yes. So
show us what it looks like.
Definitely, I can show the guys who've tuned in a video. It will be helpful for them to understand. So, what does this algorithm do basically?
Mm-hmm.
There is an image or a painting, and there is another photograph or a video.
Mm-hmm.
It analyzes the painting for color schemes and geometric shapes,
right,
and applies that onto the video or the photograph. Let's look at this demo. So here we have a painting by Pablo Picasso. We all know who he is.
Yep.
And we also have another famous movie, that's Alice in Wonderland, that's playing. And as you can see, the geometric shapes and the color scheme from the painting is transferred onto the video.
Stitched onto the video.
Yes.
Onto the painting.
And this is done in real time.
Okay.
So this is done via the style transfer algorithm, which is based on machine learning.
Okay.
So the system learns about that particular portrait, looks at the geometric shapes and the color scheme and that, and applies it onto the video.
I'm sure it's gone through a certain amount of trials for it to be so precise, and machine learning in general would need those many amount of trials. And
definitely, that's the whole idea behind it. There's so much of data, but we need to identify or analyze that data to come up with meaningful solutions. And that's the whole point and the whole idea of this session.
Yeah. You were telling me about how it's a spectrum, right? First it starts with data mining, which is pulling out this data that's valuable, that's resourceful. It goes through a process of machine learning, and then it transitions through and to artificial intelligence.
That is correct.
Walk us through this entire process and tell us where machine learning falls and how it could connect data mining to artificial intelligence.
We've all heard these concepts, data mining, machine learning, artificial intelligence, but I've rarely put them into perspective. Let's put them into perspective right now as we're talking about it.
Right.
So previously we just spoke about how there's so much of data that's available. Now, if we have to make effective use of that data, we need to analyze it. We need to process it, understand and gain insights from that particular data. Leaving that data just as it is won't help us develop systems based on it.
Okay.
So as we all know, right, for a human being to develop, he needs food. Similarly, for our systems and our software to develop, they need data. So data is basically food for the system.
For machine learning.
Yes. And when you're analyzing that data, you're processing it, digging for insights in that data, that entire process is called data mining.
Okay.
Once you've gained those insights, then you have a list of variables. And based on these variables, you're drawing permutations and combinations where you're teaching your system that from point A to B, I can arrive via this route or I can take another route. But this particular route is faster than the other route. So that is what my solution should be. We've seen this application in Google Maps.
Right.
Google Maps from point A to point B can provide you 2-3 other suggestions.
Right.
But it will always tell you that one is faster than the other.
Faster than the other, yeah.
That is how it is learned.
I think that's the cool thing about machine learning is that the system keeps making itself smarter with every trial, every error.
That's correct. That is correct.
encounters.
And while we're on the topic of Google search, just to give you an idea on the amount of data that Google is going through, on an average there are about 40,000 search queries a second. That translates to close to about 3.5 billion queries a day.
Wow.
So if it has to analyze data just for a day, it has to go to 3.5 billion queries just to figure out, say, what users in India are searching for or what users in the United States are searching for. And once it analyzes those queries, it can build its suggestions or what it thinks are the search queries that are searched for in India. Now, all of us have experienced this. When you type how to in Google, there are a list of suggestions that come up. If none of you experience this, I would urge you to go ahead and do that today. When you just go to Google and put in how to, you're going to have search results that populate.
Yeah.
How do you think has Google gained these insights? It has gone through a lot of search queries, and based on that, it has built these list of suggestions. Of course, we know about their PageRank algorithm.
Yeah.
Most of it is classified, but we know a few basics on how Google increases the relevance and ranking of websites in their search results.
Right.
And another example we can look at
email spam filtering. Doesn't that work?
Oh yes,
based on machine
I'm glad
learning?
you brought that up. Yes, email spam filtering also works on similar lines, where the system does not understand the data that's in an email, it will just understand binary patterns that are
Right.
available. So the system, the email service provider, has a mapping in their database
Okay.
of all the patterns that are considered as spam.
Mhm.
And if any email that comes in matches that pattern, it gets marked as spam.
Right.
And if an email still comes into your mailbox that you do not want to receive, you can mark that email as spam. That pattern for that particular email gets delisted in the database, and going forward, any such email that comes to you gets marked as spam.
Right.
This is also based on machine learning. It's iterative, where the system learns as it goes, as many users keep marking emails as spam or delisting emails, and going through that entire cycle, the machine or the system is learning how to make better decisions going forward.
And it makes life, like you said, much easier and convenient. So far, Zuckerberg's on track.
Yes, but as we move forward, we'll also establish a balance to our conversation.
Yes. All right. You were going to prepare, and you were going to show us an interesting demo on Google's image recognition API.
Yes, I
Can we
have
take a look at
that demo ready, and I can definitely take the audience through it.
So before we get into the demo of the tool that we've built using Google's image recognition API, I'd just like to take you through what Google's image recognition API is all about. So firstly, to gain access to Google's Vision API, you need to sign up for a Google Cloud account, and you get $300 worth of free credit that you can use for a period of 12 months to try out all the various features and projects that are available through Google's cloud platform. One of them is Google's image recognition API that we're going to test out and demo for you today. So what is Google's image recognition API all about? It's a powerful image analysis tool that you can use to analyze images for various types of content that's available. You can use it for face detection, logo detection, to also detect text within an image. This could be very relevant to some of our web designers and web pros who tuned in case you want to decode an image for that kind of text that is in it, or in case an invoice is uploaded as a PDF or an image file, and you want to detect the invoice ID on that particular image, you can use this API. Also, in case you want to filter out adult images on your website, you can use this API. It will help you detect adult content on your website as well, or in the images that are available on your website. So as I said, yeah, it helps you gain insight from your images, detect inappropriate content, extract text from within an image. And here are some of the features that Google's Vision API offers to you. It helps you detect faces, label detection, explicit content detection, logo detection, landmark detection. So, for example, if I upload an image of say the Taj Mahal, it will detect that it's a landmark and also provide me the name of that landmark, and so on and so forth. We also have a documentation that's available that Google has provided to us that's very accurate and very helpful. We have a quick start guide, the various APIs and references that are available. We'll go through the client libraries that are available. You have client libraries for all the various languages that you could code this API in. So we have C Sharp, PHP, Python, Ruby, a host of other languages as well, and applications. Then Google has also provided us with some samples that we can use, some face detection samples, logo detection samples, text detection samples, landmark detection samples, etc. For our purpose, we are going to look at the face detection sample, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to use this. We've all, or at least most of us, may have already used the HTTP API that OtterBox offers. Google's Vision API is on similar grounds, where it makes use of a similar protocol, the REST API, and you can fire in a simple HTTPS, the API using a simple HTTPS URL, and it analyzes the image that you provided as a parameter. So as you can see, it's a simple post command that's sent to Google server. You also need to give in your JSON request that will contain the URL to the image you want Google to analyze. And you also need to specify the type of feature that you're looking for. Do you want to detect any logos in the image? Do you want to detect a particular landmark in the image, or you want to use simple face detection? So we are going to use the example for face detection. and we are going to reference a remote image. So that's what we're going to look at. Yeah, so Google has provided you with a ready example and sample that's available online. You can look at it, but I'll take you through this as a demo so you get a better understanding. I'll also take you through the image that I'm going to provide as a parameter. So this is an image of a family. There's a father, mother, and a toddler. Google's going to analyze this image for us and also provide us insights into what they think the image is about. So let's get on into this demo where I show you how the API works. I'm going to be running this on an SSH terminal. Uh, you can use this on any third-party tools that are available also, like Postman. I'm going to be running this on my SSH terminal directly using a curl command, and I'll decode the curl command for you so you are able to understand. Let's get on into this now. So firstly, as I said, we need to have our JSON request ready with the kind of content that we want Google to analyze. So I've already prepared a file that contains my JSON request. So here's our file. It contains our request that we're going to send to Google's server. I've also given in the link to the image that I showed you a little earlier. And I'm telling Google that I want to detect faces in this particular image. And I want insights. When I say web detection, I want insights into that particular image, what is the kind of emotion that's on the faces of the people in the on the image. So I'll just show that to you once I run the curl command, so you get a better understanding. Yeah, so this is the file that I've already prepared containing my JSON request. And this is my curl command that I'm going to run. So it's a simple curl command where I'm going to fire a JSON request to Google server. I've provided the URL, the the API URL that needs to be passed. I'm also putting in my key, that's my secure key to my Google Cloud account, and I am also mentioning the file name where I put in my JSON request. So as I said earlier, that you need to sign up with uh, Google on their Google Cloud platform, and you get access to their entire array of projects and offerings that they have. So you can sign up using your Gmail account, and you get $300 of free credit that you can utilize. And just like how we have on the HTTP API that OtterBox offers, you need some authentication to connect to your account. So they offer an API key too that you need to use to authenticate yourself with your account, and then you can use their APIs. So here I'm passing a simple curl command and a JSON request to Google. I'm also putting in the URL where this needs to be fired at, and I'm putting in my authentication, that's my API key. And when I run this, let's see what Google analyzes and sends to us. So Google has analyzed the image, and we had told Google to tell us if there are any faces in the image. And as you can see, Google has analyzed the image, provided us with exact landmarks of which pixel the left eye is located on the X, Y, and Z axis. Also the right eye, what is the pixel positions of that, so we can map it out on the image. It also tells us where the left eyebrow is, where the right eyebrow is, and all of those features that are distinctive of a human face. And it provides us with the exact coordinates of the pixels on the X, Y, and Z axis. And if you scroll down, as I said, it will also analyze the image for the emotions. If you see, it says joy, likelihood, very likely. So if you've seen the image that I'd shown you earlier, the entire family was smiling, the parents and the toddler as well. Then you have sorrow, likelihood, very unlikely. So it's analyzed the image, and it's telling you the kind of emotions that are on the people's faces there too. And as I said, it will also analyze something else. In the web detection, it will also give you uh, a description of what image, or what Google thinks that image contains. So according to Google, it contains a family and also a child. So as you can see, Google has very accurately analyzed that image and also told us what emotions are on the people's faces in that image. And moving on, it also provides us with alternative images. So if you can see full matching images. So if I run this URL, it will be a URL to an image that's exactly the same as the one that I showed you. So if you see, this is exactly the same URL. So Google has told you that full matching images, this is another URL that contains the same image. There's another URL that contains the same image. Then it has partially matching images. So Google provides you with a host of solutions that you can use for your business. Google's image recognition API is one of them. And as I showed you, it's so easy to use, just like our HTTP API in Autobox. And you just need to fire simple post API calls to Google with the image as a parameter, and it analyzes the image. And there are various options that you can use, like face detection, which we've just done, logo detection, text detection, etc. And let's move on into the tool that we've built that you can use, that we've used Google Vision API on. Let's move on into that.
We have a lot of web designers and web professionals have who've tuned in, and this will be very relevant to them. This demo is based on Google's image recognition API. How this tool works, just to give you a gist, is we've used the API, we've plugged into simple HTML. This code has been spun up by a couple of developers here at Endurance, and it's really easy to use and easy to build in as well. So what does this tool do? It first looks at your website.
Right.
It downloads images from that website, and based on the current images, it analyzes and scans for objects, patterns, geometric shapes, and based on that, it will tag those objects.
Okay.
And based on those tags, it will search for newer and better images that can be used onto your website.
Right.
So it will help you make over or revamp your current website.
Okay.
So let's go on into the demo.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is how the interface looks like. It's very basic, since it's just for the purpose of our demo.
Yep.
Quickly spun up, and here let's move into it. We put in our URL.
Okay.
I already have prepared a couple of URLs, so just to show that to you, I paste in the URL.
Right.
And as soon as I paste in the URL here, I click on search. What is the system going to do? First, it's going to pick up my domain name,
right,
which is foodpharmacy.blog.
Right.
It's going to pick that domain up, and it's going to analyze the keywords in that name. And first, it's going to suggest me images based on that keyword. So as you can see, there are images that are based on the term food pharmacy.
Food and pharmacy. Okay.
Yes. So that's interesting. And the next step, it downloads images from my website.
Right.
And once it has downloaded them, it analyzes them.
Okay.
So if you would have observed, the URL was related to pickled onions.
Yes.
And as we scroll down, you will realize that it will give us images that were based on
the keywords.
Yes,
that
on
you provided.
exactly on the image that was downloaded. And here we are.
Wow.
So as you can see, we have onions and pickled onions that have come up.
That's brilliant.
In the suggestions.
Yeah.
And we can move on similarly to our next example, which is related to electronics. I can put in the domain name. Let me just enter it in so that's helpful to you. I put it in and I click on search. Now, as soon as I hit search, just as it worked initially, it will look at the domain name, which is related to electronics, and it will pull up images based on that.
Based on
next,
what you type.
it will download images on my current website, and it will provide suggestions based on what it has analyzed of those images. So as we move down, we will see that there are images related to the image that was downloaded from the website.
Wow. And this is very easy to work with.
Very easy to work
It's
with. This was
open source.
quickly spun up. Yes, it's open source, and this is available on the Google Cloud platform. Google also provides you with $300 of free credit, which you can definitely use to test this out and go ahead and work with. So yeah, that's about the demo and how simple it is to use a machine learning tool and integrate that into your business.
Wow, that's something that's really amazing. Something you can try right away, and walk us
Yes.
through. Just give us 3 interesting takeaways from this conversation that they can apply to their business right away? What are the three important things we need to keep in mind?
We've looked at how it machine learning makes life simple.
Right.
We've looked at the example of how a reseller or a web professional or a web designer
Yeah.
can get this implemented on a support help desk.
Yeah.
He can make his support help desk smarter, reduce time, reduce customer service interaction time, which automatically improves customer experience.
And increases efficiency.
Yes, it also increases efficiency, and it also has a direct hit on your operational costs,
Right.
where you increase your profitability, you reduce your operational costs, which is something that most of our clients will be interested in doing. And it also helps us automate certain monotonous tasks, as we already have seen. And that is something that we need to look at. These are advantages and takeaways that are very central to a particular business, where you're improving efficiency,
Yeah.
you're providing solutions faster,
Hmm.
and you're automating certain tasks that can be automated.
It's delegation.
Yes.
basically. So what I gather from this is machine learning is a really important thing to do. It's going to save you a lot of time, efficiency, and going to make life much more convenient for you and your customers as well.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's something that needs to be checked on. You have to be very proactive about it, and
I'm glad you
can't
brought that up.
be reactive,
Yes.
because you mentioned the Bob and Alice situation.
Yes.
That Facebook's project was actually taken down.
Yes.
They couldn't go.
It's because we need to understand that as human beings, the more we make use of our intelligence,
Right.
the sharper we become.
Right.
Now you take that and you apply that to a machine. The
Right.
more it uses its own intelligence, the sharper,
The sharper
it's
it's gonna
going to become.
yeah.
And when a human being relies on artificial intelligence, he in turn is going to stop using his own intelligence,
own.
and that's going to affect him. Secondly, human interaction is going to reduce, because
Right.
we're just going to be interacting with bots all the time. And yeah, those are some of the things that we need to consider going forward, and ensure that all the issues that could arise out of artificial intelligence or machine learning tools
Right.
are discussed initially, regulations
And-
are put into place, rather than doing this on a reactive basis.
Okay, so that's what we gather from this conversation.
Exactly.
Now we have a few questions for you right now, and these were given to us a little beforehand. Let's take them. Hemant asks, if Google is providing image recognition, what would the scope of what would be the scope of research?
So I believe he's referring to how Google has strengthened its database, and how it has arrived to accurate solutions and conclusions. So Google has gone through a lot of images, a lot of data, analyzed those images and data, drawn out geographic or geometric patterns out of it. It has also classified objects, tagged those objects over a period of time, and then it has updated its database, and only then has the image recognition API gone into production, where based on their research, based on what the system has learnt in real time, that's what suggestions are provided based on the Google Vision API.
Okay. Support at the rate Eastwood wants to know, is there any tutorial material available?
Yeah, there are a lot of tutorial materials available online. Machine learning is a vast topic. So there are lots of materials that are available online, and you can go visit the websites like Imperial College has their website where you can see their course on machine learning. Also, Columbia University, United States, they have their website where you can go ahead and sign up for their course.
Okay.
There are a few other websites that you can look for open source content and content that's free that you can visit. And
GitHub?
GitHub will have examples related to machine learning. GitHub has a few examples based on Google's image recognition API that you can readily take up and use that in your business.
Okay.
There are, as I said, there are a few courses available online. Imperial College London is one of them. Columbia University, United States is another one.
Okay. The Highlander wants to know, can we have a degree for this?
Yes, as
Imperial College
yes,
London and
Columbia University.
Columbia University. Okay. Nathan's asking us, what are open machine learning systems I can work on right now?
Nathan, there are a lot of machine learning systems available out there. Lots of open source frameworks that are in the market.
Google's Vision API is one.
We have Amazon's machine learning. We also have IBM's Watson. There is TensorFlow. Apache has its own machine learning system, which is open source. You can utilize any one of these based on your requirements.
Okay. Vikram's asking us, would love to see some of the IBM Watson stuff as well. Vikram, we're not going to delve into that in today's topic, but we'll try and cover it in a future one. David's asking us, how can we collaborate in developing? I think that's a pretty generic question.
So, from this question, I just like to tackle one thing, that's collaboration. A lot of organizations out there are collaborating because they see value in collaborating. If one particular organization has worked on or done an analysis based on one particular product or a particular customer base, the other organization, if it collaborates with that particular organization, does not need to redo that entire analysis. It can just take up the data from that analysis and use it for its own system. Yes. So collaboration is very important, and using that for the benefit of the organization is very important.
All right. Thanks so much for helping us, Jonathan. I think we've
It was a pleasure
understood what it is. And thank you for tuning in. If at all you have any questions, like I said, do write them to us. If at all you want to know about any future topics, let us know and we'll make it a point to get the best minds in the industry to share some amazing insights with you. And thank you so much for tuning in. Do follow us on Facebook and YouTube to know more about when and where the next topic is happening. Thank you.